Kalshi and Polymarket have thoroughly screwed over men by getting them hooked on gambling, and now they're targeting women. They've launched aggressive social media ad campaigns, encouraging them to bet on Love Island and other pop culture phenomena. My TikTok For You feed thinks I'm a woman in her 20s, so I've seen these ads firsthand, and the data show that they're working. It appears the gambling companies are closing in on their new victims because that's what users of these platforms are, in my opinion. The vast majority of users, more than 70% of them on Kalshi in particular, lose money to the tune of hundreds of millions of dollars since the platform went live. These gambling sites, advertised as prediction markets, present themselves as a form of investing and not betting. As women are told from birth that they're supposed to be bad at finance, Polymarket and Kalshi are capitalizing on this belief ingrained in women's minds and providing them a girl math alternative to managing a stock portfolio. Considering that these companies have already hoodwinked most men with their advertising, there's a good chance their marketing strategy will work. The current epidemic of online betting platforms began with the age-old practice of sports gambling. After a landmark Supreme Court decision in 2018 ended the federal ban on the practice, over half of all US states now allow some form of online sports gambling. This made it widely accessible, and mobile apps like DraftKings and FanDuel put the power of betting on your favorite team into the pockets of millions of people, mostly men. Around the same time sports betting exploded in popularity, Kalshi was finding the necessary legal loopholes to bring sports gambling, and gambling on everything for that matter, to all 50 states. They branded themselves as a prediction market, securing the necessary license from the Commodities Futures Trading Commission to sell event contracts. According to the CFTC, they're offering a legitimate financial service, providing contracts that derive their value from an underlying commodity. In the case of event contracts, this would be an outcome of an event. There's another word for deriving value from the outcome of an event in this way. It's called gambling. For obvious reasons, multiple states have cracked down on Kalshi and its competitor Polymarket for evading state gambling regulations. Though this farce of providing a legitimate financial service is not holding up to regulatory scrutiny in many jurisdictions, it does provide the basis for marketing yourself as a platform where people can earn money and not hemorrhage money. That dirty word gambling is associated with the idea that the house always wins, and images of people sobbing at the poker table in Vegas after losing their life savings. The idea of buying financial products on a prediction market, though, is reminiscent of buying actual investments that can significantly increase your net worth, like mutual funds. Not only does it legitimize gambling, but it makes the idea of investing more approachable. While determining whether you should buy or sell Pfizer stock based on its price-to-earnings ratio may seem daunting, placing a bet on the winners of Love Island is quite easy to understand. According to an Atlantic article quoted by a different article not behind a paywall, prediction markets lean into the idea that all of this is investing, not gambling, when targeting women. It seems like Kalshi and Polymarket are making a misogynistic assumption here, that women aren't interested in real investing. But the power of misogynistic assumptions is that they're internalized by women. Nobody comes out of the womb liking Love Island and avoiding finance, but the social pressures telling women that's how they should act are real. Kalshi and Polymarket have determined that this is the best way to target women with their ads, and companies don't spend millions of marketing dollars without data showing a return on investment. Instead of throwing away your money on Kalshi and Polymarket, you can gain access to my Discord so you can suggest video topics, and they'll show up in my notifications, which are turned on so your suggestions appear on my phone for me to reply to. I'm trying to build a community there, so if you want to join, click the link in the description below and sign up as an esteemed contributor on my Patreon for $5 a month to access my exclusive Discord. Anyways, back to the video. In 10 months, the percentage of women users on Kalshi doubled, according to the Wall Street Journal, thanks in part to their pop culture-centered marketing strategy. This doesn't mean these ads work on everyone. In fact, many women are rightfully infuriated that they are in the crosshairs of these gambling companies.
Now that these gambling companies have successfully gotten every man addicted to sports betting, their next target is women.
They said, "Oh, queen, it's okay if sports betting isn't for you. Instead, we'll show you sponsored posts from girlies talking about how they bet on Love Island.
To loosely paraphrase what TikToker Econ with Sarah said, they are hijacking the girly pop language that influencers use to connect with their audience of other women. Basically, the scruffy male CEOs of Kalshi and Polymarket have hired a bunch of approachable young women to recruit their next batch of users. It looks like Kalshi and Polymarket are finding individuals to film UGC, as in user-generated content, for them. Remember those girls from that Kalshi ad from earlier cheering in their living room? Normally, companies don't film ads like that themselves. Instead, they use marketing agencies or UGC platforms to quickly find women that will make videos for them at rock-bottom prices. This creates a convincing illusion that there's an army of women organically using Kalshi and Polymarket. This marketing strategy is ethically dubious, and so is their entire business model. Gambling is not investing, it's throwing your money in a paper shredder. What separates a bet on Love Island from a wise investment is the degree of risk you're exposing yourself to. There's no reliable data you can use to predict the winners of Love Island. When you buy a diversified mutual fund, though, decades of historical data indicate that your money will grow. There are still risks, but they're spread out over the entire stock and bond market. Ironically, investing in a diversified portfolio is not that difficult to understand. You buy the mutual fund or a handful of index funds, those work too, and over the course of your life, the line will go up until you need that money to retire. The problem is the returns are only considerable after years of holding on to an investment and not touching it. It's also a passive activity unless you're day trading, which is a recipe for financial ruin unless you're a member of Congress. Betting on pop culture trends simply gives you more dopamine, even if you only win once and lose 10 other bets. But there's the issue. Unless you're lucky, you will lose money. Gambling can be devastating to your finances, and as Econ with Sarah said in her video, this is an emerging public health crisis. We've seen what it has done to men, many of whom are losing money hand over fist on DraftKings parlays every week. Among users of sports betting apps, crypto platforms, and prediction markets, 80% of Gen Z users and 75% of millennial users report using these platforms in order to reach their financial goals. Many of these users are not in good shape money-wise and see prediction markets as an opportunity to pull themselves out of poverty. After all, steady investments that earn dividends over the course of years will not fix their immediate financial struggles. The younger people who use these apps are told they'll never buy a home or build wealth, so why not gamble away your money? The podcaster Haley Sachs described this attitude as financial nihilism in an interview with CNBC Make It. The prevalence of prediction market use among those who aren't financially secure is in step with other forms of gambling like the lottery. It seems that gambling companies across the board make most of their money from people who truly cannot afford to gamble. Considering that Kalshi and Polymarket's ads appear to be working, we can expect the same struggles predominantly affecting men to happen to women. Gambling companies are notorious for targeting marginalized groups, and women are on average less financially secure than men. While Kalshi and Polymarket's ads appear to target mostly single women in their 20s, I wonder if their next victims will be stay-at-home moms craving financial independence. Not to give these companies ideas, but that's how most successful MLMs in the US made their millions. I'm afraid Kalshi and Polymarket's next campaigns will target older women, telling them they can be wise investors and honing in on pop culture topics that appeal to older millennials. If you target women who need money to reduce their dependence on their partner or want to make some extra cash to pay for childcare, an ad campaign like that might just work. Currently, Kalshi and Polymarket are in a legal gray area and are allowed to advertise as aggressively as possible with little regulations preventing them from doing so. The obvious solution to prevent predatory marketing would be an outright ban on running targeted gambling ads on social media. There is already a precedent for these kinds of regulations. Tobacco companies can no longer run ads on TV after the link between smoking and lung cancer was discovered. Considering that gambling almost always leads to financial troubles, it is our lawmakers' duty to protect us from companies seeking to rob us blind. Personally, I think Kalshi and Polymarket need to be dismantled entirely. Betting on serious stuff like presidential elections should be relegated to underground rings controlled by the mob and should not have any legitimacy whatsoever. Allowing these platforms to target marginalized groups with impunity and perhaps even exist in the first place seems reprehensible. Through their trendy marketing, Kalshi and Polymarket pretend to offer their prediction market services as a tool to financially empower women. In reality, they're gambling platforms platforms that have thoroughly robbed men blind and have their sights set on the other half of the population. It's unlikely that the government will crack down on them in the future, at least not at the federal level, as the tendrils of prediction markets have weaved their way into the current presidential administration. In a country that increasingly functions like an oligarchy, there's not much stopping Kalshi and Polymarket from conflating betting on Taylor Swift's bridesmaid selections with putting money in a 401k. Though offensive girl boss ads targeting women seem too dumb to work, they are clearly driving convergence. These companies' marketing departments have the easiest job imaginable, dangling tens of thousands of dollars over people's heads and waiting for them to take the bait. It's up to us to push back, and with the aid of state regulators, we can hopefully stop this blight from spreading. Anyways, I'm Robert Tolpe, and if you like this video, check out my Patreon below, and don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Bye-bye.